careful with that spray sunscreen. You might miss a spot. It's a hot one at the card pool today. I'm Stu.
I'm Kyle.
And today we're looking at our final part of the set review of Ice Age.
It's such a cool set. It is really hot here.
It is really hot in here.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Sorry for sweating a lot.
That's my job. But anyway, so what we're going to do is, this is our final one for those who are unaware of this. What we do is we go ahead and we dive into this set a little bit more. First of all, we go ahead and take a look at the themes and mechanics.
Indeed.
Then we follow it up with the hidden gems that we have had in our first 2 episodes. And then we follow up with our 3rd episode with some spicy money cards. Finally, Kyle gets us educated on some lore. And then overall, we talk about our impact, which is just selfless semantics. Because Kyle's always wrong. But either way...
Right, all right.
When that isn't the pitter-patter of conversation, we go ahead and we rank these. And that is based off of what level.
Well, let's take a look here. We got a nice graphic here, courtesy of Jason, our engineer. But we have, at the bottom, we have the bronze medal, followed by silver, up to gold. And then finally, for the tippy top of sets we review, platinum.
Can't go wrong with the tippy top right there.
You really can't.
So let's start off this set with it's a pretty small set of themes and mechanics for Ice Age, but they are there nonetheless. And let's start off with the fun one that people like to avoid.
Yeah.
Cumulative Upkeep. And we'll look at a card at Mystic Remora. We're not going to read what the card does itself, but the focus of this is that it says Cumulative Upkeep, and it has the 1 next to it. The way how this mechanic works is when it comes around to your upkeep, this goes ahead and gets a counter. And then for every counter, you have to go ahead and pay that cost. It can be life, it could be mana, it could be creatures, it could be anything.
Any number of things.
And they get creative on it. And this mechanic itself, it's good and it's bad. Braid of Fire is pretty much the only one you'd say is the best.
Has a positive cumulative upkeep.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there is that one giant creature that like shuffles cards from your graveyard into your deck. I guess that could be good.
Yeah, I mean it's a benefit.
Yeah. So in general, these cards are a toss-up. We've talked about them before, and we'll probably talk about them again. It's completely subjective. It's up to your judgment whether the effects of the cards are good enough and powerful enough to keep around and pay for them turn after turn.
Yeah, and that was their way of neutering powerful cards or cards they thought were too powerful at the time. Most of these nowadays could just stay out and be totally fine. Most, not all.
Yeah, like a Mystic Remora, I still feel like that is all too powerful. Like it's a Rhystic Study for 1 mana. I feel like that's too powerful.
It's not a Rhystic Study, but we'll go into that later.
It is.
But yeah, they can have their value. But again, choose what you want. Take it from there. You can play with counters. You can remove counters. All works in a way.
Yeah. All right. Well,
next card.
Yeah, let's talk about really the only other new mechanic this set introduced, which was the idea of snow permanence. So here we have a nice picture of a snow-covered island, and there are snow creatures, there are a lot of things. Actually, the Modern Horizons set introduced a bunch of new snow cards, but mostly we focus on snow lands, because in this case it was a snow-covered island, snow-covered mountains, snow-covered plains.
And they're still basic lands.
And yeah, they are basic lands, but they have the added subtype, they're basic snow lands. So snow is just kind of an added type, doesn't really come into play unless with any number of cards that reference snow lands or snow permanents.
Or the Extraplanar Lens, which is the main reason why you use these.
Right. Most people use these lands because Extraplanar Lens gives additional mana to anyone who has the same type of land as the one you exiled. If you use snow lands, odds are your opponents are not going to be using the same color as you and snow lands. So that kind of gets around that whole thing.
It's where the Gauntlet of Might, that really expensive red card that makes it so that all mountains produce for additional red, it makes it so it's just for you, potentially. The likelihood of other people using snow lands, pretty low. Yeah. But again, if people are also planning on that strategy, you might just help them out as well. So
yeah, but that's really the only reason we see snow permanents being cared about a lot. They haven't really stood the test of time super well, as they have very, very few support cards.
Yes, they need more cards to be advantageously interlined with one another.
And they've done it a little bit. Like I said, Modern Horizons gave us a bunch of new ones, which are actually pretty decent, but still not a critical mass to make a snow deck, in my opinion.
They're more in the kiddie pool of our card pool.
Yeah,
for
we'll see. We'll see
depth.
if that changes at some point in the future. You never know.
And the last thing I'd say for a pseudo little tech and mechanic is it was kind of like a Future Sight set. We saw the color pie take a twist, giving some new effects towards different ones. Not much more we could talk about with that. There are other sets with it, but more or less just saying something to note. But
Yeah, let's move on to some hidden gems. Let's discuss those for a little bit, shall we?
no. Okay. All right, you convinced me now. All right, so hidden gems. We're not going to mention the specific cards that we have in ours this way. You guys will have to go back and take a look at them. We will have the links for them, and I'll throw up a little blip right now, taking us to the first part of that.
Right.
But I thoroughly enjoyed what I found and was pretty impressed with them for
Yeah, me
being
too.
cards that were like literally off the radar. I've never seen played,
Yeah.
or if I have, it's because I did a deep dive on my own accord before we started doing this channel.
Yeah, for me, the hidden gems in this set, for the most part, like there are some of them that are generically very powerful, but for the most part, they're relatively obscure and situational. But a lot of them give certain decks and colors tools that they don't really have access to, especially in more modern Magic. And honestly, a lot of them should be kept in mind just as budget options because
Or
they're
side deck
super
pieces.
good possible replacements for really expensive cards. And a lot of them are just plain out of the box possibility. Like they make all kinds of crazy things possible.
Yeah.
So they're just, they're completely maybe out of the realm of what you would expect, but hey, still pretty good.
I mean, I even found a couple that I would argue to be staples for certain archetypes. And like, you don't say that too often. Like, you're like, all right, this is a staple, but it's a money card. This is a staple, not like a maybe staple. This is 100% a staple, and it's not even in the realm of the top 10. So that gives you a little perspective right there for like what you can truly find in the set. I mean, there was a good handful of junk, but there was also some really awesome stuff.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
I think this set's more or less been forgotten as opposed to like...
Yeah, a lot of people aren't too crazy about this set overall, and I don't get it because there's some cool stuff in here.
Yeah, there really is. And it's pretty cheap as of right now.
It really is, yeah.
But speaking of the non-cheap, taking the ladder towards the money realm of our card selection.
Indeed.
These...
Yes.
Where do you stand?
Well, sadly, there's not a ton of money value here because a lot of these cards have been reprinted or have dropped in value over the years or just aren't in super high demand. But then again, back in the day, cards like Necropotence, which was like probably the best card in this entire set and one of the best cards in Magic history,
Yep.
that had like an over $100 price tag for a long, long time. Now it's down to like $10, which is so sad. But anyway, my point is that there's a very few cards from this set that are very well known and highly regarded and still sought after no matter what price they're at.
They are
So
getting more noted.
that should be noted.
Mystic Remora is one that has also started to come back to life,
Mm-hmm.
and also Altar of the Brood. Not Brood, what was the other one? The Selesnya Tutor.
Yeah, the Altar of Bone. There
Altar
you
of
go.
Bone,
Yeah.
my bad. That's also another one that's come into light more. People are noting that to be like, hey, this is a thing, and I don't know why I didn't know about this.
No, I don't know. I don't know what made that possible, but it is. We are seeing some of these prices start to edge up, but still, nothing's over $10 yet. So
For, you got
Yeah.
some time, but again, find what you want before it's too late.
yeah, it's money cards. I would say pretty cool. Yeah, I'd give them a pretty good rating as well overall with all of this.
Yeah, but we did see some that aren't really, like the Painlands, we've seen the Painlands before, and they, of course, usually are a money spot in the sets. So take those out, it's kind of on the lower end. But beyond that...
Now, see, I disagree. I don't think it's lower end at all. I think it's pretty solidly in the middle, if not the top middle. But
I think it's more or less like, you're using almond milk as milk.
well, let's talk a little bit about the lore finally before we get into our last sort of round of discussion here. And honestly, I don't have a ton to say about this one because there's a lot going on here. A lot of it is either completely irrelevant to the Magic storyline these days, or it's just of contested canon. So, like, we're not even sure if any of this, according to Wizards, actually happened anymore. But what we do know
Because
is
they've
that...
changed the timelines.
Yeah, and it's a long story. But what we do know is it takes place on Dominaria, the main setting of the Magic storyline, for a long, long time. And this happened immediately after the big, the Brothers' War, the famous war between Urza and Mishra, and the
Mishra?
catastrophic. That was his brother, yeah.
I thought, no.
What?
No. Yawgmoth, isn't that his brother?
No.
Mishra's his brother?
Yeah.
Mishra sucks.
Well, he's never gotten a good card. I'm hoping maybe that'll change someday. But anyway, the two brothers, a war that destroyed most of their continent, if not the entire world. And a catastrophic war-ending event with Urza unleashing this magical blast that totally decimated an entire continent. It plunged the entire world of Dominaria into an ice age. So that is where this set, Ice Age, comes from. And there were new civilizations fell, new civilizations rose. The main antagonist of the whole thing is Lim-Dul, who's from Lim-Dul's Vault's fame. He was a necromancer who got super powerful and would raise armies of undead soldiers to fight the new nation states.
And they were perfectly preserved because of the snow.
Yeah, well, they are snow zombies in this set, so yeah, that is true.
Pretty cool.
So, yeah, there's a lot going on here, but it's mostly small potatoes when compared to the rest of the Magic universe at this point.
Potatoes still make French fries, so I'll take them. But moving on to the impact. Now, you're saying the lore doesn't have much, but...
Yeah, not too much.
I think... All right, I've been talking a lot. You go for it.
All right, well, impact. So, first of all, you have to keep in mind that a lot of these cards were more powerful back when they were originally printed.
It's an old set.
Most of them, this is a very old set, most of them have been one-upped in the years since, but some, like Necropotence, did the opposite. The hilarious thing about Necropotence was when it was originally printed, it was regarded as one of the worst cards in the set. Just absolute trash, and nobody wanted to play it. But then once there were some, especially with the tournament scene up and coming, there were some changes in thought as regarded to the set, where suddenly people looked at these cards in a new light and they're like, wow, this is actually really, really good. So yeah, fun story, Necropotence was originally considered trash, and now is one of the best cards in the game.
So was Divining Top, actually.
Right, exactly. So originally, some cards who are considered to be terrible have become great. And you don't actually see many of these cards still played competitively, as a lot of them, like Necropotence, is banned in pretty much every format except for Commander.
Yeah.
So you can't play it even if you wanted to, but many of them are just still viable kitchen table Magic cards and are budget or offbeat options for a lot of different decks. So I honestly think the impact was pretty large. Not as big as we've seen them, but still, this was one of the things that really started moving the game forward past those original sets, which were really wonky and weird.
I'll agree with you with that. It wasn't groundbreaking in its type of mechanics or new form of cards, but it was more or less filling the sandwich up. This stuff existed, it just needed more meat or sauce.
And I think this is when we started seeing a lot of... this was not a lot of, but the first steps toward the modernization and streamlining of the game as we see it now. I think they took their first steps toward that in this set.
Yeah, but they stopped. Recently, they've come back to it. It still needs, for this set alone to become a lot more monumental in Magic, it still needs another set or possibly even two with snow permanents or interactions with what it was trying to do with the color pie.
Well, hey, they've shown a willingness to revisit snow permanents outside of the 3-set Ice Age block, which is something I never thought would happen. So hey, anything is possible.
I just think it's because the snow lands are costing about $4 or $5 for one copy. I think
well, that might have been a motivator as well, but still, the fact that they're willing to do it shows that maybe it'll become a thing in the future. You never know.
I wouldn't mind that. I would enjoy that. Or a Snow Commander, that'd be actually pretty cool.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Yeah.
And it's just the person's in an igloo. Something like that.
Something
or
like
just
that.
Total disregard to the snow at all, just walking around Bear Grylls kind of style, just going Chuck Norris. Either way, it's off the point. But yeah, the impact, it was decent. I'd say it was on a smaller scale of what we've seen in other sets. It's not the best, but I think there's still some hidden potential.
Oh yeah, less dramatic perhaps, but not less meaningful in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. So now for the ranking.
Indeed.
Kyle.
Oh yeah, it's my turn first?
Yeah, go first.
All right, so
this way I know what not to say.
Yeah, for my ranking here, I'm gonna give it a gold. I'm going to give Ice Age the gold medal in this case because I know a lot of these cards, as I said, may not have survived the test of time, but others still continue to pull their weight and hold their place as some of the most powerful and iconic in the game. So I think, and plenty more that aren't necessarily household names, still have a ton of potential. So I think there's a ton of potential in here. Some of it may still be buried, maybe waiting to be unearthed at some point in the future, but some of it is out there plain as day for all to see. And like I said, I think there was enough modernization trend in this set that it started the ball rolling toward what we see in the future. So I think this is an important set. I really do.
Cool. Well, for mine, I will... Well, are you going to ask me, Kyle?
All right. Yes, Stu. What is your ranking going to be?
Oh, shucks, Kyle. Well, you bring it up like such a way. I, too, will be following suit with gold. I almost went for the silver.
Boo.
I almost did. There's a handful of cards that really made this stuff shine out to where it was. You see green control cards, which you don't see anywhere, and have ceased to see. I think that kind of ended around this time period. And also, you see some underdog colors getting effects that can actually boost them up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I love it anytime the color pie gets wonky. And it did in this set. Not for everything, and that was the reason why I was leaning more towards the silver. But the ones that did exist, I still feel undervalued for where they are. Not as a community as itself, not for what the card itself visually represents. And I feel like if they got a little bit more attention, seeing how they can be interacted with certain cards, mechanics, plays, or commanders, the price of them would definitely change. I think the set itself would be evaluated as something else. So
yeah,
I'm not giving up on it yet, and that's the reason why I'm going to give it a gold. It's just barely a gold right now. But maybe in a couple sets, it'll be like, oh, definitely gold, maybe platinum. Who knows?
I think there's a lot of potential here, and there's still more untapped potential that we have yet to see happen.
I just don't think it's potent potential. It's not potent potables right here.
P's in the beginning of words.
Alliteration's what I was doing. I don't know what you're doing.
I was going somewhere.
I'm using elements of literature right here.
I was going somewhere with that, but forget it.
You uncultured swine.
I think that'll about do it.
I'm an uncultured swine, and I can definitely...
Well, you don't like the Beatles, so you are an uncultured
All right,
swine.
I don't even bring up the Beatles right now. We don't have enough time for one episode.
All right, we gotta go. We gotta go.
And, all right, well, first of all, we'll end on a fun poll real fast. Who's more of an uncultured swine after hearing that? Is it Kyle or Stu?
He doesn't like the Beatles, keep in mind.
First of all, he only listens to Beatles, and Beatles make stink
only.
bugs, and those stink.
Yeah, so just decide whether I'm right or I'm right. We'll just, move on with that.
Uncultured swine. I bet you don't even know where that's from, uncultured swine.
You? I don't know.
Toy Story.
Whatever.
Find us, reach out to us. We're on Reddit. We're on Tapped Out. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter.
Yeah, you can also reach out to us via email at mtgthecardpool@gmail.com if you want to reach us that way. So, yeah. All kinds of ways to reach us.
Until then, we'll be doing a new set around the corner shortly.
Haven't decided what it is yet, but we'll let you know.
And if there's any decks, and if there's any sets that you want us to take a look at, be sure to actually put them down in the comment if we haven't done them already. Or if you want to relook at one, thinking that there's more potential that you have found, let us know.
Definitely.
We'll consider it.
And until then, I'm Kyle.
And he's wrong. I'm Stu. And we'll see you next time at the Card Pool.